What is up, my friends? You're very welcome along to Sunday evenings, what usually would be Anfield Agenda's news roundup, but today it's going to be more of an opinion piece. I'm going to give you my take on where we're at, how close I think ARNE is to losing his job, and what it would take for me to utter those words, I want the manager fired. I've been making content now for 7 or 8 years and never have I had to say those words out loud, but I'm going to tell you what it will take and where I'm currently at. But of course, I do want to know what you guys think. People are split on this one, of course, and that's more than understandable. Some Liverpool fans think that there are extenuating circumstances that mean we can be a bit more calm about it. Others feel like it's just not working and there's no signs of it changing. So I'm going to let you know where I'm at, but do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like on this video if you enjoy it, and as always, we do appreciate your support, and I hope to see you back here tonight at 8:45 for the late night agenda. So before I give you my take, I just want to run through a couple of the, extenuating circumstances that have led me to the position that I'm about to take up. So this piece here said, when Dango Ouattara hooked home from a long throw in, only Brentford's second meaningful attack, it meant that the Reds have conceded in the opening 15 minutes of 4 consecutive Premier League games for the first time since 1996. It is absolutely shocking. So our manager will come out and talk about low blocks. He'll come out and talk about long throw-ins. He'll come out and talk about the fact we're struggling to break teams down. But that doesn't excuse us conceding in the first 15 minutes, ARNE. 62 seconds is all it took against Manchester United after an international break where we had lots of time to prepare. Actually, I say that, but the manager was off in Dubai. And that's another point that I want to reach out to here. Because people are saying, look, the manager needs to see his family. That's fine. But I don't remember that excuse last year when things were going well. I don't remember that excuse when Liverpool were walking with the league title that he had to see his family. For me, results are important, and results are all that matter. When people step onto the football pitch, personally, I don't give a damn what is going on in their private lives. That is up to them. If they're not up to the job, then ask the manager to leave them on the bench, or in the manager's case, step away from the job. You cannot make excuses in top-level sport, particularly when you're being paid a lot of money. And that's all that I'm hearing right now, is excuses. What I'm not hearing from ARNE is a determination and a focus and a desire to turn this around. It is just one excuse after another, whether he's talking about how far we're unlucky with the XG we've had versus the goals that we've scored, how teams are finding a way to beat us. Well, here's the thing, ARNE. If you come out in every single press conference, every single week, after every single game, and tell teams how your team can't defend a low block and how your team can't defend direct set pieces, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to go, do you know what, lads, in their team meetings, we best not do this because that's an Achilles heel for Liverpool? No, they're going to go straight for it, and it's on you to figure it out. The manager said that they spent all of the day before the Brentford game working on set pieces. Jumping up and down on your toes isn't working on set pieces, because that's all it looked like we were doing. It is absolutely unacceptable to just hear this codswallop, this absolute nonsense from the manager, excuse after excuse after excuse. You've spent 450 million quid in the summer. And if those players aren't working, then go back to the old guard. Every decision was made for the future, and I get that. But where we are right now is just so far away from where we want to be. And it's not good enough. It really just isn't good enough. So only 5 top-flight teams, so 5 teams in the Premier League, have conceded more this season than Liverpool, who've conceded 14 goals already. 14! Let that sink in. Having allowed that many in just 9 league games. So we're averaging about 1.5 goals a game, conceding, as league champions. That is absolutely unacceptable, particularly when we had all summer to bring in defensive reinforcement centrally. We brought in 2 fullbacks who look so far off it, and the manager still keeps playing Milos Kerkez, even though, well, you know what I'm going to say. He can't get through a half of football without picking up a yellow card, and we're being exploited down that left-hand side over and over again. It took 16 games last year for Liverpool to concede 14 goals. We've done it 7 games quicker this season, and that ain't a good thing. So look, I said at the start of this video, I'm going to tell you where I'm at with the manager and what it's going to take. It's going to take 2 losses in the next 3 games for me to say I think it's time for ARNE to be given his marching orders. And I don't say this lightly. I've been asked this and I bit my tongue all the way through the watch-along yesterday when people were rightly having their say, whether they were defending the situation or they were angry about the situation. But I wanted to take my time and think about it overnight and not do what I normally do, which is just come on and react emotionally. Yes, I'll criticise performances, but the big decisions, I like to take some time to think those over. The game, and the reason I say, by the way, 2 out of 3 is because the game against Palace is a bit of a wild card. In any season, when you've got Premier League opposition in the League Cup, it's a roll of the dice what the manager does. So I'm almost willing to overlook that game to a certain extent. But we've got Aston Villa and Manchester City coming up. 2 huge games. Villa just beat City today, and then we have Real Madrid as well in the Champions League. I watched the first half as I'm sitting here to record this of Real Madrid-Barcelona. If that Real Madrid show up to Anfield, we are going to get a spanking if we don't step up. So here's the biggest problem I have. I don't know whether the players aren't playing for the manager or whether they're just feeling sorry for themselves. But what I am seeing is a manager who is unwilling to make tactical changes, who is unwilling to speak openly about our own failures, instead of just saying teams know what to do against us. And then coming out publicly to say, we don't know how to stop it. We don't know how to stop it. My man, you were paid a lot of money to know how to stop it. You were supported hugely in the summer transfer window. And I know people are going to talk about these extenuating circumstances, but I'm sorry, they're just excuses. That's all that they are. And I don't remember people talking about half of these things when we're winning. But suddenly when we're losing, we're all supposed to feel sorry for everyone. Now, I'm not talking about the tragedy with Diogo Jota. Of course, anybody who is suffering from that or still feeling like they can't give 100%, I support them 100%. And if they need time aside to recoup, to get some therapy or whatever they need, I think all fans will agree with me when I say we're right behind them. But you need the ones out there on the pitch who are going to fight. Our captain seems as delusional as anybody at the minute. He keeps coming out with waffle after waffle, talking about blocking out the outside noise. No. You need to be blocking out the manager's instructions at this point, Virgil, because they're absolutely diabolical. We don't seem to know what we're doing out there. I cannot understand how we can go so far backwards with adding in the amount of quality we did. Now look, of course, when you bring in a lot of new players, there's going to be some teething issues. But this doesn't look like teething issues to me. Teething issues are where there's patterns of play that aren't quite working out, but you can see what they're trying to do. I challenge anybody who watches Liverpool week in, week out to tell me what ARNE is trying to do. Because it isn't the high press, because they're not pressing. It isn't playing the ball around at the back looking for that perfect pass, because we end up just moving it side to side and letting teams reset. And as I've said multiple times this season, if you're going to complain about a low block, then start moving the ball quicker through the lines. This cutting back inside, moving our own players around, just gives opposition teams time to set themselves and defend against us. And if we can't go 15 minutes in a game without conceding, what hope have we got? So ARNE, let me just say this really clearly. When you concede the first goal in a game, particularly against opposition that we would all deem to be inferior to the Reds, then of course they're going to sit and defend a bit. That's their right. They've earned the right to do that. You have to earn the right to win a game of football. Andy Robertson spoke probably the most sense I've heard of any Liverpool player after the game, where he just called out the standards aren't good enough. We talk about leadership, and ARNE is very quick to talk about what a great leader Virgil van Dijk is. Well, Virgil needs to start speaking the truth. Virgil needs to let those players know, publicly and privately, that this is unacceptable, rather than asking the fans to constantly stay behind them. There's a piece in the Echo that said Mohamed Salah was absolutely applauded, and his name was sung over and over again by the travelling cop. That's why they get that support, Virgil. The support is already there. But you can't ask these people who are paying their hard-earned money to go up and down the country every single week to go and watch that dross and think it's acceptable. It absolutely isn't. We have superstar players on superstar money, and they're doing average Sunday League stuff. That isn't about anything other than not giving a shit and it not being right. And I'm sorry, but that's where I am at. So for me, if he loses 2 of the next 3 games, I think there's a decision to be made on the manager's future. I, like everybody else, want ARNE to turn it around. I, like everybody else, want this team to succeed. But if the manager keeps banging his head against a brick wall and doing the same things over and over again, nothing is going to change. Like I've said, this is a really unique situation for me as a Liverpool fan, and I dare say for a lot of you guys as well. I'd have to probably go back to the Hodgson-Rodgers era before I'd even think about my last time saying a manager needs to go. But you don't get to go this far backwards and not sort it out. He feels like he has no plan B. We go away to Frankfurt, we switch it up, we look better, and what does he do? Switch it right back, put in the same personnel, and we look just as bad as we were every other week. Not acceptable. We're behind Manchester United in the league table. Now let's put this into perspective. A Manchester United that every single fan base up and down the country and all over the world were saying Amarim was close to losing his job. Well, we're behind them, and we're the defending league champions. Let that sink in. We're behind them, and we're sitting here making excuses. If it was any other club, we'd be all saying the manager needs to be held to account. And I think at Liverpool, we need to be the very same. Liverpool exists to win trophies, not to make excuses. The manager was backed. He's got everything he could ask for. He's got a roster of superstar players. No more excuses. Time to fix it or admit you're not up to the job. So that's where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's over to you. I'll see you guys tonight at 8:45 for the late night agenda. I promise you, I took absolutely zero pleasure in saying any of that. It breaks my heart to have to say it, because we want ARNE to succeed. And anybody that watches our channel knows that right from the early days, I was fully behind ARNE, stepping up to defend him against people who said he was going to be a sacrificial lamb after Klopp. I've always been behind the manager, but I'm not going to be behind this dross, because it is absolutely avoidable, and it's just his pig-headedness and stubbornness that is stopping it from gathering some momentum and going in the right direction. So that's it from me. I'll see you tonight. Much love. Bye-bye.